This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. This food crisis is only going to get worse. And if you think you've seen it all yet, with farmers being told to destroy their crops, to the story I just covered a few days ago about railroads saying they're not going to be delivering fertilizer, of all the things, we got to cut back on fertilizer delivery because of the congestion on the tracks, to the story I'm about to tell you about, which is just incredible, about all of these distribution plants burning to the ground conveniently at a time where there's a food shortage in place. Yet we still live amongst people that don't realize the government is doing this on purpose. And sorry if I just lost my voice there. I just did a video on the website about what they're trying to do in Rhode Island with taxing the unpotioned. And I'm not just talking about a fine. I'm talking about literally making you pay double your income taxes if you don't take the potion. Kid you not. So I was yelling a little bit there, so my voice is a little scratchy. So check that out on the website if you haven't. I'm here on the blue channel, you may have noticed, because I got a strike on my yellow channel. So that's why I just took a breather for a day or two. The strike was because I covered the 2025 and how they're talking about climate change hitting in 2025, where there's going to be massive depop and things like that. Of course I got a strike. And you say, what's the strike for? Apparently the strike is for medical misinfo for 1/9er. Appealed it, lost the appeal. What a surprise. This platform is an utter joke. We know that, but I'll continue my best putting content out on other channels. So now I'm on this channel. It's got 30,000. I'll probably be back on that other one next week when the strike goes away. You guys know the routine here. That's why it's important that people join the website. But if you don't like the content that much and you don't want to join the website, it's perfectly understandable. So food shortages are a thing of now on purpose, right? With the Great Reset, the World Economic Forum, obviously, all these people are pumping this inflation, shortages on the shelves. We've heard this since the beginning of the 1/9er. Now they're going full force. And what they're doing is they're literally destroying distribution manufacturing plants that are making food. We see in China that they're literally taking groceries and food and throwing them in the trash can to create food shortages. Literally. That's what's going on in China. They're taking food and they're throwing it away, saying that it's rotted food. Yeah, you could hear the people talking, saying it's perfectly fine food. You can see with your own eyes. I mean, unless there's a little mold on the food somewhere that we don't see with our eyes, which you could cut off, it looks pretty good. Well, that's because the governments have turned on the citizens and they are creating a massive, massive food shortage because they're going to make people even more dependent on them. And they're going to have to run to their government for food and for water and for what they have planned next. But this is what's going on. Take a look at this guy. Tiz's Taylor Farms, I believe it's called. He doesn't seem too concerned about the fact that his plant burned down. He's smirking a little bit, and he got a little check, I'm sure, written to him, his Masonic brothers and whatever other secret society. This guy's probably really high up. They don't seem to care. We're just gonna have to rebuild, but there'll be a food shortage in the meantime, so get ready.
We begin tonight with new information on the Taylor Farms fire and the future of that plant in South Salinas. Action News 8 reporter Christian Balderas spoke with Taylor Farms founder and CEO Bruce Taylor today. Christian is live in Salinas tonight with our top story.
Aaron, the scene here at Taylor Farms is completely clear and the facility has been given back to the company. I spoke with the CEO, Bruce Taylor, earlier today. He says that he hopes to have the facility back up and running by this time next year.
Next policy will be don't burn the building down.
Taylor Farms CEO Bruce Taylor says he believes this week's fire was caused by a welding maintenance accident.
So the fire was caused by welding, is that correct?
We're speculating. They were preparing the facility for us to move back in this weekend. And the speculation is, I don't know where else fire would come from.
Fire stations from across Monterey County responded. 3 drones equipped with infrared technology were deployed. You can see the footage here showing the roof collapsing. The biggest concern when the fire broke out, a possible toxic ammonia leak, causing the worry of an explosion. Taylor doesn't think that would have happened.
There wasn't, in my mind, an ammonia leak. So what happened was that when the fire started, as part of our emergency protocol, we pumped down the lines that carry the ammonia to the refrigeration system. And whenever you pump down the lines, there's some residual ammonia in those lines. You can't get it all out. And so that's what leaked.
Operations at the facility were supposed to resume tomorrow. Now processing and packaging will move to their sister plant in Yuma, Arizona. Taylor Farms will continue to get their produce from Salinas growers. About 700 employees that work here don't have a place to work, but they will be kept on the payroll full-time.
There will be no layoffs. They'll be paid for 40 hours a week.
Though the processing area is being deemed a complete loss, some parts of the building were spared, like the shipping cooler and shipping docks. Taylor Farms hopes to have a new plant up and running by April of next year.
It's that community spirit that has really helped our company thrive throughout the years. We've been so blessed to be able to give back to the community, and we will continue to give back to our community. That's kind of my biggest disappointment in this, is that it sets back our ability to give back and to continue to make Salinas and Monterey County thrive.
So this isn't the only thing. This is what's alarming about it, is that all around the country, we're seeing food shortages magnified by food processing facilities being destroyed. Oh, what are the odds that all these places just catch fire? I mean, was it bagel lightning? If you catch my drift, we ever hear the reference something lightning, blank lightning, bagel lightning? Yeah. Oh, was it just a faulty electrical work at all these places at the same time in the last year or so? I mean, are people really buying this? Food shortages have been exasperated by a string of fires, plane crashes, and explosions at nearly 24 food processing facilities across the U.S. and Canada. So this might not be happening in the UK and other places. I believe that everything that's going to go down is going to go down here in Babylon with North America and Canada, Mexico. They're just going to shut this operation down. They could do it easily with a grid shutdown, okay? And then having food shortages, nothing in the stores. People will be going nuts. They'll be going werewolf on each other. And the government can come in and swoop in and save the day and be the hero. They give people rations. They'll give them their Soylent Green. And people will become more dependent on the government, which is exactly what they want. They want people to be more dependent on. People already are dependent on. People are already turning to their governments to protect them from bullying and other ridiculous things because they're weak pansies that we live among. But this is what's coming next. And these are the things they're doing. And if people can't see that they're sabotaging this on purpose, I don't know what to tell you. You think all this happening by coincidence? Railroads won't deliver fertilizer to farmers. The government writing letters to farmers telling them to destroy their crops and saying, we'll pay you double what you usually make every year on your crops. We'll pay you double to burn them. So farmers are burning them. Huh? So no fertilizer, no food's being delivered. We have China throwing food into dumpsters. Perfectly good food. And we have our country now using inflation and wheat from Ukraine as an excuse for the shortages. And these idiots believe it. Meanwhile, all these plants are catching fire. I don't know. Do you think they sent someone there and oops, there's a fire? Did somebody go and accidentally drop a match and gasoline and burn an entire warehouse down? I mean, it's unbelievable. It's happening right in front of our faces and nobody sees it. Why? They're too distracted. What are they distracted with? Well, could it be Johnny Depp's trial? Or could it be what a woman is, trying to define it? Insanity talk, just insanity and useless stuff. Will Smith slapping someone in the face. I mean, pointless crap. Johnny Depp's trials on Fox News, and people think that the left and right aren't working with one another to just completely distract and make, and get this stuff pushed across without reporting on it. The most recent happened Thursday in Georgia when a small plane crashed shortly after takeoff into a General Mills plant just east of Atlanta. 2 occupants of the plane were killed. Well, that's not funny. But as reported by the New York Post, or though, do we really believe that anyone was? Right? Probably just an empty plane that flew itself because they do have that technology, especially with 5G. So anyway, a massive fire on Monday night destroyed parts of the Azure Standard headquarters in Oregon, a company that self-describes as the USA's largest independent food distributor. The company said basically any liquid product such as honey, oil, vinegar will be out of stock due to the fire. The company also said it's lost its fruit packing and carob product facility in the blaze, but said the effects will be minimal as fruit harvesting season hasn't started yet. Well, it hasn't started yet, but there's going to be no fertilizer, so you can factor that excuse in too. Last Thursday, firefighters contended with a massive blaze at Taylor Farms, which you heard packaged salad plants in California, a key agricultural region right outside of San Francisco. The fire broke out late Wednesday night. The same day, an airplane crashed into Idaho's processing facility. Are you keeping up? These are all multiple places. I'm not reading about just the one. The same day that that happens at Taylor Farms, a plane crashes into a plant in Idaho. Plant said it processed 18,000 acres worth of potatoes every year. Well, not anymore. The pilot of the plane did not survive, however, no employees were injured. John Doe, probably the identity of the pilot. On April 13th, firefighters from several departments in Maine helped battle a massive fire that destroyed East Conway Beef and Pork Butcher Shop and Meat Market. Look, if I was somebody out there listening to this, if you, if you're like the Patriot Supply places or these places that supply survival food, I would have extra eyes on my warehouses and things like that, because they're coming for the food. And that's not a crazy notion. Look at these things. Planes are just kamikazing into these things. What are the odds? Planes are just falling out of the sky into manufacturing plants. Fires are just starting in the night. They're coming for the food. Fertilizer not being delivered. So anything, Patriot Supplies and all those types of places, whichever ones, there's tons of them. And you have warehouses, I would have extra security on. I mean, not that you're going to be able to do anything if they're flying planes into places. Oops. That's a pretty convenient excuse for them, right? Oops, it fell out of school. What are we supposed to do? Where's the pilot? The pilot? He must have been thrown trillions of miles from here. We can't find him. Oh, okay. What's his name? George Glass. Oh, George Glass. He was a good man. Great pilot, clearly. Whew. Investigators did not indicate what caused the fire at the April 13th facility in Maine, which destroyed the meat. In March, it was reported a major fire forced the closure of a Nestle plant in Arkansas. The plant makes frozen foods, particularly hot pot. The frozen foods plant announced plans for a $100 million expansion last year. Should I keep going? Another potato processing facility in Belfast, Maine, was also destroyed by fire in March. Officials believe a deep fryer was behind the fire. In Canada, fire crews and paramedics responded after explosion at the Centre de, some French word here, industrial food preparation and processing facility in Quebec. 5 people were injured in the March explosion that turned into a major fire. Okay, are we done yet? Nope. And in late March, a fire at the Maricopa Food Pantry, a food bank in Arizona, saw 50,000 pounds worth of food burn up. And yet another blaze at the Texas-based Rio Fresh severely damaged the onion processing facility. Boy, let's keep going. In February, a portion of a Wisconsin River Meats was destroyed by fire. Anybody here have, don't they have sprinkler systems above? Do they have, I get it, it's a big plant, but boy, it's a lot of places burning down in the last few months here. I guess this is what they, recently at the G7, this must have been what they talked about. Well, how are we going to enhance the food? Well, we're going to have to just burn these food manufacturing places down. We'll cut a check to the guy who runs it. He'll turn a blind eye, turn the security cameras off, and somebody will just go in there and start a fire, or we'll just fly planes into it, or we'll just bomb them and put an explosion in there and say a plane crashed into it so people aren't suspicious, even though that's pretty suspicious. Planes don't just fly into buildings. Well, they want you to think that they do, if you catch my drift. One time that happened in New York. Aluminum going through steel. Anyway, another fire in February sparked a boiler explosion at a potato chip plant in Oregon. Several people went to the hospital, minor injuries. Okay, third fire in February caused in Indiana, soybean processing plant, the largest fully integrated soybean plant in the U.S., to suspend production. How convenient. A blaze at a poultry processing plant in Hamilton region in Ontario in January caused extensive damage but caused no injuries. Firefighters responded to a fire in January at a plant in Louisiana. The fire took more than 12 hours to put out. Over and over. Fire in December caused more than 100,000 in damage at the San Antonio food processing plant. In late November, a fire engulfed, should I continue? The food processing plant in Pennsylvania. The cause of the fire was ruled an accident. How convenient. Nobody's liable. Although the fire damaged a portion of the facility, the company at the time released a statement that said the fire did not impact all of the production of the food. Another raging fire in August of 2021 severely damaged another meat production company in Georgia. And it goes on. In July, firefighters battled another fire in Alabama. I can't keep going here, can I? Oh, I can. Another July fire at a Kellogg factory in Memphis, Tennessee was determined to be an accident. No injuries reported. Dozens of crews were called to help fight the fire. So you see what's going on here, right? You want more? All right, I'll give you a few more. April 2021, a Smithfield Foods plant in Illinois was unknown. A fire started. Although a fire in January 2021 destroyed a meat manufacturer, Deli Stars production facility in Illinois. As of February 22, it did reopen. Well, it reopened, but watch out, a plane might fall through there. And we go on and on and on and on. And then in Canada, we have more. The CDC is an CCC, International Consumer Advocacy Group, that among other things works to reduce industry regulators to lead less consumer choice and makes products more expensive. Clement said this doesn't believe Canadians will go hungry with all these fires and everything that's going on up there. Affecting food distribution could potentially reduce product quantity on store shelves and create what he called shrinkflation. So definitely major shrinkage going on here for everybody who's watching these stories, because they're planning on starving a nation. They're planning on starving North America. If you don't see it, get the dirt out of your eyes. These are not coincidences. Food manufacturing plants, when in a window like that, do not burn to the ground. Airplanes do not fly through them. What's next? A car going to drive through the front and they're going to go, oh, the whole plant's gone. They were using excuses in the past like the 1-9er to try to create the shortages, and people weren't buying it. Well, now, they got the war, they got this, and they'll use all of them and jam them together. This is part of their plan. Starvation is on the list. That's why it's imperative that you have stuff and supplies for a longer period of time than you think. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to prep you. Somebody said the other day, like, all you're trying to do is scare. I want you to be prepared. I want you to go through listening to my channel and something happens and then you're like, he didn't tell me, he didn't push it hard enough for me to at least get some food, get some water so I could take care of myself. If you do and you weren't aware that this was happening, you'll thank me later, and you don't have to thank me. I just want you to be prepared. We're all on the same team here, and we're watching our governments turn on the citizens. It's sickening, disgusting. Share this video. Let people see what's going on with all these fires. Maybe they'll click, something in their head will click. Not to mention the other things, the shortages on the railroad with the fertilizer, the farmers being told to burn their crops. Come on. How do people not see what's going on here? You think your government's working for you? Look at the nonsense when they talk, when they actually go on TV and talk, what they say. They blame it on Putin. Then what else do? They talk about bullying and trans people. I mean, it's unbelievable. Nonsense. We're talking about food and water, the most important things in life, and they're ready to take it away. And they've been ready to take it away. And they want you to still be more fearful of a cough and a common cold when you can't live without water. You know how long you're going to last without water with dehydration? A day? 2 days? Maybe? Without food? Come on. The governments are coming for the citizens. Be prepared. A reminder again, check out the website at callforanuprising.com. It's $2.99 a month. I hope to see everybody over there. I want to thank you all for your support. And thanks again for being here on the Blue Channel. Not many people came over and subbed. But all I can do is tell people this is where I am. Hopefully they'll come here and listen. If they don't want to listen, they don't have to listen. I'm doing the best that I can, and I appreciate the support, everybody. God bless all of you and your families.